My name is Vincent Bernard, Editor-in-Chief of the International Review of the Red Cross. I will moderate our discussion this afternoon. This conference on promoting and protecting education in situations of armed conflict. Schools are used as battlegrounds in conflict situations, in other situations of violence today. Children are directly affected. Their access to school is obstructed. Some children are separated from relatives. Some are detained. Some are recruited as fighters. The effects of conflict and violence is also felt through the loss of teachers, the flight of students, destruction of schools and other facilities, and the degradation of entire education systems. So the ICRC, the International Committee of the Red Cross, the Geneva Academy of International Humanitarian Law and Human Rights, and Protecting Education in Insecurity and Conắ�ict, PEIC, are co-organizing this event to explore the complex impacts of conflict on the right to education, on education in general. So how is education protected under international law? And what needs to be done to implement the law and develop protection? Today's discussion is an opportunity to take stock of this debate, of its latest developments. And this is also an opportunity to launch the report by the Geneva Academy and PEIC, entitled UN Human Rights Mechanisms and the Right to Education in Insecurity and Armed Conflicts. You will find the copies of the report outside the room. I also need to mention that this afternoon our panel is recorded and it will soon be available on our website on ICRC.org. So we are very lucky to have a wide range of experts. You cannot see them now, but they will soon join me here at the panel. We have 7 of them. They come from Education Above All, the Geneva Academy, Human Rights Watch, the ICRC, the South Texas College of Law, and UNICEF. And I will introduce them as we speak. In order to have a rich interaction between our guests and with you, we decided to abandon the long individual presentations, and we will move straight into a discussion after watching a short movie. We will address 2 broad questions this afternoon. First, the impact of military use and military use of schools and direct attacks against schools. And second, we look at other impacts of armed conflicts and violence on children's education, on children's access to education. For each of these 2 problems, we'll discuss the scope of the problem, we'll discuss the legal dimensions, and we will discuss possible responses. And then we will follow our discussion with questions with you, questions and answers with the audience. So before we start the discussion, let me first give the floor to Courtney Irwin, who is the Legal Program Manager at Education Above All. And she will introduce the organization and also the report. Thank you.
Good afternoon. I'm delighted to see so many people here at this event. On behalf of my organization, the Protect Education in Insecurity and Conắ�ict Program of Education Above All Foundation, PEIC at EAA, it's a mouthful. I'm again delighted to be here, delighted to be discussing this issue and seeing attention focused on the protection of education in armed conflict. Just a few words about PEIC and EAA, because it's probably not well known in this community. It's based in Doha, Qatar, and it focuses exclusively on the protection of education in armed conflict. It was started 4 years ago, and in the past 4 years it's focused on providing research, capacity building, and advocacy activities around this issue. In terms of the research, as Vincent said, we are launching today a report in a larger legal research series, the United Nations Human Rights Mechanisms and the Right to Education in Situations of Insecurity and Armed Conflict. And there are 2 other reports that are part of this legal research series. One looks at the international legal framework that protects education, and then another looks at reparations and education. So I invite you to, again, pick them up at the entrance as you leave today. One thing that I did, one other note to mention, Education Above All is a part of a global coalition, the Global Coalition to Protect Education from Attack, which is comprised of a number of international agencies, organizations, and UN agencies. This organization, about a week ago, released a groundbreaking report called Education Under Attack 2014 that looks at these types of targeted attacks on schools, universities, scholars, students, teachers. It looks at the 30 countries where these types of attacks are happening, their impacts. It's a global survey, and it brings global attention to this issue and these types of attacks. I encourage you to visit the website and visit this or look at this report. A note that I wanted to mention prior to beginning today's conversation, when I began with PEIC 4 years ago, the stated objective of that organization was to bring together the legal and humanitarian sectors to look at protection of education in armed conflict. Since that time, I've learned that this is an uneasy relationship often, and that the humanitarian community might have information that the legal actors would love to use in accountability measures, and how to negotiate that terrain has been one of challenge, but I think also of opportunity, and one that should be constantly re-examined. And so this event today allows for an opportunity to have a very candid discussion about these two sectors and how they can address these challenges, and again, continue to work together in terms of protecting education in insecurity and armed conflict. So thank you so much, and I'm very looking forward to today's conversation.
Thank you, Courtney. So, as I said, the first section concerns the first part of our discussion concerns the military use of educational facilities and direct attacks against them. So I suggest we first watch a short movie by Human Rights Watch.